I'm Alex Howard.
And I'm Amanda Silver. And this is Dirty Laundry.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? What's doing?
I had the cutest little moment this morning.
This morning, okay.
So
it's a fresh story.
This is hot off the press. Yeah.
Okay.
So my kid comes downstairs. We've all been sick and whatever. So there's been a lot of togetherness.
Yeah.
Anyways, he comes downstairs and I was like letting them sleep in. Walks downstairs. I'm like, buddy, you're up. Why are you up so early? I couldn't sleep. I've been lying in bed. And you know what I've been thinking about? How Mercedes has 3 E's in it and all of them make different noises. And this is exactly what I did. I was like, Mercedes. Wow. He's like, I've been thinking about that for an hour.
What is he on?
I don't know. But can I get
hallucinating?
So cute.
Oh my God, that's
Little
hysterical.
Big thoughts in the 12-year-old brain, right?
Mercedes has, the E's have 3 different sounds.
3 different sounds. It reminds me so much of my grandpa, R.I.P.
Okay.
Loved him so much. But English was his second language. They came here, I don't know how, my mom was 11, so however old he was, let's say 30 or give or take. And his favorite thing, he would look at me and he would go, but why? Why I, but not spelled the same. Like, I know it is a pickle. And why there, and there, and there? Like,
The English language is a tough one.
It sucks.
I feel
It's so
so
hard.
blessed that it's my mother tongue.
Thank
I don't
goodness.
think I could learn it.
I would never. I would just give up and not bother.
I think I would not be able to. Forget it.
And like, God love all of the folks that come
And learn English. Like, honestly, I'm always amazed.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was my morning.
My morning was not as interesting.
Well, then let's instead talk about our very interesting guest.
I am so excited about our guest.
Look, my hand is like a little bit shaky.
Oh, he's a big one.
Well, he's also
a big
just, like,
guest.
very
He's
dreamy.
a celeb.
A very good looking gentleman.
So handsome.
So
I mean,
handsome.
just so handsome.
And tell our listeners, without telling who it is, how you guys met.
So I was in Miami, I think it was a year or 2 ago with my sister. And we started chatting with this very handsome man on the beach with his dog. And my sister had her dog.
Oh,
The dogs
cute.
were like playing. His dog is so cute. And we just started chatting and we hung out and we ended up having lunch together by the pool with him and his friends. And it was just like such a nice, like, you just connect with someone
I love
and then
it.
you stay in touch.
I love it.
And who knew that he would be on the show?
I know. So fun.
I love when those things happen. Like
Yeah.
you just meet people. I love when you're on vacation and like you kind of are more inclined to meet people and to talk to people. And so it's so nice.
So here's a really important question.
Okay,
prepare yourself. Who takes their dog on vacation?
That's a very good
Oh my
question. I think you
God.
should ask him when he
I'm
comes
going
on.
to have to.
Well, he's
I've
a very
never heard
special
such a thing.
dog.
Oh, small, I'm guessing.
He's small and he
Yeah.
travels well.
I think
he
the ones that
he
can
travels
fit-
with his dog all the time.
Yeah, because he can fit in a little bag like under the seat.
And
kind
if
of
you're
vibe.
going away for like a week or 2, you can't. It's hard to leave.
Yeah.
It's hard to leave him at home
Is it?
because you have a dog's dog.
Yes.
Ace,
Because he's big.
Ace is like he's a person.
Right.
He's very particular.
Right.
He's also very
Aw,
handsome.
Ace. That's a good name.
Yeah. Maybe he'll bring him on today. Adam Hafner is an Emmy-nominated host and producer who has hosted the American Music Awards pre-show, E! News, and most recently appeared on NBC News Daily. So welcome, Adam.
How long have you been in LA, Adam?
Almost 20 years, which is hard
Wow.
to even fathom and realize that I guess I've lived here. I'm almost a native now at this point.
Wow.
Yeah,
You've
and
lived
you're
there
a New
longer.
Yorker.
Yeah.
I'm
Born-
born and raised in New York.
Yep.
I feel like if we were drinking, the accent would come out more.
Oh, do it.
We'll get you to talk.
How do you do
Maybe
it?
it'll
It
slip
just
out.
becomes real Joe Pesci. Like, what are you
Yeah.
two doing over there? What's that? Like, I just get real lazy, real
That's
Brooklyn, real
awesome.
quick.
I love it. I love
And
it. I love
how
New
does
York
one
accent.
become a E! News reporter? Tell us a bit of your story.
Wait, it's been a journey, but
Yeah.
for me, I love television at a very young age. 5 years old, I was watching I Love Lucy, and it was more than just like, oh my God, it's really funny. I'm old. I made my parents buy me the books about TV production because you couldn't
Wow.
Google, right? So I
Nope.
wanted to know what they were doing. So always fascinated by TV entertainment. My Regis Philbin. I love Regis Philbin.
Loves Regis Philbin.
A storyteller. No one tells a story like Regis Philbin. And then growing up, I will say Joan Rivers on the red carpet,
Mm-hmm.
for me, watching that and just her delivery and her interaction with celebrities, I just love that so much. You want to have a connection, you want to have a vibe, you want to have a good time. And Joan was the epitome of a good time on the red carpet.
That's so cool. Is it a lot of improv? Like, give us a little bit of red carpet behind,
behind the scenes.
I know this
And
has nothing to do with divorce.
I've seen your interviews, and like you are interviewing like AA listers, and you make them feel so comfortable, and it's like you're chatting with a friend.
Yeah, we want you to feel free to dish a little.
Yeah,
I mean,
dish,
we talk ad nauseum about relationships and divorce and all of that fun stuff, and we try and keep it real professional. But your profession is actually kind of getting the scoop.
Yes. And I've had the, I don't know what the word is, but I've been invited to I was at Kate Hudson's birthday party.
Cool.
Right? And when you're there, you want to be like, I come in peace. I'm not trying to but I become almost so shy where I'm almost like, I'm still that kid watching I Love Lucy at 5 years old, eating Kraft Singles American cheese. So you're just
So
like, but I remember that night, Kim Kardashian was there, Goldie Hawn was there, and I want to observe everyone. Also, I'm going to tell this story. Do you remember the Supremes?
Like the band?
Yeah, like Diana Ross.
Yeah.
So years ago, I'm at a Grammy party. I think it was Def Jam. I'm waiting to get in, and I finally get in, and Mary Wilson is in line with me. Mary Wilson was one of the original Ross, and the guy is not letting Mary Wilson in. And I'm like, this is Mary Wilson. And she's like, baby, don't worry about it. My person's coming in to get me, whatever. So I go inside, and there's a VIP in the back. Mary Wilson comes in. I'm like, Mary, I want to go in the back. She's like, come here, baby. She grabs my hand, brings me to the VIP. Moments like that, for me, who's loved this forever, it's like, it's great.
But speaking of connecting with people, you must see a lot in terms of celebrity relationships because, you get to see kind of behind the scenes. They're always, there's multiple marriages, breakups, uncoupling, coupling, all the things that are happening, and it's all in front of the public eye. So I'm wondering what it's like from your perspective and how it differs from us normal human beings.
Well, I love, conscious uncoupling.
Yes.
Gwyneth Paltrow, Chris Martin gave us that term. 2016, they were married for 8 years, 2 kids. They got a divorce, but it was amicable. They came to each other, and it was just like, this doesn't work anymore, and conscious uncoupling.
Yeah.
Now, usually, most divorces or breakups are not amicable. Someone's really upset. Someone doesn't want the relationship to end. The other person does. I think the big difference with celebrities is money. So many people who are still together, either it's a trauma bond, either it's financially, there's children, and they don't have any options. If you're a celebrity, you have options. And you're like, I want to move on. I want to experience something new. But I will also say, remember, for celebrities, if you're an actor and then you're meeting new people on sets, that's an isolated experience.
Right.
Then in the real world, sometimes that relationship doesn't always work. Like Angelina and Brad Pitt met on Mr. and Mrs. Smith in 2005. They were together for a decade, married only 2 years, but their divorce is still going on for 8 years.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I find it so interesting, right? They meet, you see so many celeb relationships that develop on set. And it's kind of like this microcosm. It's like this fishbowl of not reality, right? Where they're on set all the time,
they're isolated from their real life.
From real responsibilities and real concerns and every day. And then they fall in love, meet, get married, and then they're thrown into what real life is like. So that's probably a huge shock, which is maybe why they don't last.
Yeah.
Look at reality TV, Love is Blind, The Bachelorette. When you meet people in an isolated experience, and then that's all you have, and then you go back in the real world, and if the magic's gone, distractions come in, and you realize that bond was only there because there was nothing better, or, and then, but also, I'm not a relationship coach. I can barely keep a successful relationship, so I will say that as a caveat. But
Ab and I could share single stories offline.
I do think there isn't as much as a pull to make relationships work. Because even for regular people, it's like, you know what, my current relationship, I'm not happy with it. I went on Facebook and I'm talking to my high school sweetheart. And everyone is so quick to replace,
Yeah.
and instead of doing work or taking responsibility, like, oh, we're done.
Yeah.
And not to say everything needs to be till death do us part. And I see a lot of people who are together who I'm thinking, maybe you shouldn't be together. But I don't think the effort is there any longer to keep relationships. And I think the stigma of people are okay with being married multiple times and
Yeah.
relationships and being almost like a soap opera.
Well, I mean, Elizabeth Taylor really led the way with multiple marriages. It's, the celebs kind of do it first, and then the rest of us kind of follow.
Yeah, we follow suit.
But I think it is sort of commonplace in the celebrity world to have multiple marriages. Like, it's not uncommon at all.
Because they can afford it.
Yeah.
And,
Honestly.
and also, I think that they're able to say, I'm not happy. And as celebrities and actors, it's, usually they have a whole team and it's very focused on them. Where people in everyday lives, no one's really always checking in. Amanda, are you happy? Alex, are you happy?
That's such a good point. You're used to being the center of a lot of people's attention. And so maybe if that attention from your partner, your husband, your significant other turns away ever so slightly because they're doing a different project or out of town or whatever.
Like, I'm out.
It's like, I need more attention. I need
more.
that sort of, and listen, obviously we're painting everybody with, a huge brush, but it takes a certain personality to want to be in the spotlight. And so with that,
Right.
I think it is a bit of a give and take.
And then how do you maintain a sort of what a quote unquote normal relationship where you're coming home? Like, celebrities, from the outside looking in, don't seem to have regular lives, and that they go home and you have dinner and like a normal day, for example. It's always like jet setting here. I'm on the set for 3 months. That's what it seems to me. So I wonder, how do you have a normal relationship, like a day-to-day normal, where you're just hanging out at home, doing laundry or ordering in?
Listen, I don't ever want to do laundry. So I'm hoping one day to have these problems. But I think for celebrities, that could be a big problem. If both of you are working and on set, and then when you're not jet setting and you are home, and all of a sudden it just focuses on the relationship, maybe it crumbles then because you're frustrated about your career. Like, look at J-Lo and Ben Affleck. I think all the weddings and the greatest love story ever told, and then all of a sudden when all that hoopla was done, so was the relationship. And I also say to my everyday regular friends out there, I got a text about, we're flying people in, for the wedding and like our 30 top friends. And I'm like, whoa, save this money, go buy a house. Like,
Right?
why do you want this princess fairy tale? Like, you're in a dress, it's all about you. And I get it, but all this money for the wedding, is it really worth it?
And I wonder if that has put a bit of a sort of pressure on your average, Jane and Joe Smith, whatever the Doe, whatever
John,
your average folks, to then try to emulate some of these over the top weddings, which then leave this average folk being like, oh, well,
mine sucked compared to that, or
sucks. Yeah. Like, I wonder if it's also a comparison thing that really starts to struggle with. I guess if for like us normal people are comparing ourselves to celebrities, they must be then comparing to each other as well.
Alex, listen, I'm not Dr. Phil, but do not compare yourself to Elizabeth Taylor or J-Lo or Kim Kardashian. Like, I mean, don't.
It's just unattainable.
What are you saying? I don't have it? Come on.
You got it, but I don't know if you want what they have and what
Touche.
to keep doing.
Very good point. But no, I like what you say about there's a lot of distraction, right? Because with money comes a lot of pomp and circumstance. And so maybe in the early days of dating and you're all caught up in the romance and all the fun and the flights to wherever and the jewels and the diamonds that us regular folk can't afford, you don't actually look at the sort of meat and potatoes of the person. And then once that's all over, and I think this is common for, let's say, relationships across all boards. But now what? There's no substance to it. And so where do you go from there? And then to your point, okay, well, let's get a divorce. I'd rather be with someone else. It's that easy.
Is it just that easy to just move on?
That easy?
Is it that easy in Hollywood to just move on to the next relationship?
In a word, yes.
Yeah.
Like you have like people like setting you up. Like, I feel like there's like publicists and people who are like, oh no, you should go on a date with this person. Like, it's almost like it's part of the business.
Listen,
you're with.
I keep going back to J-Lo, but it's like it becomes the narrative of like the team is almost like, what's your storyline, right? So then over the summer, she's in the Hamptons. single getting ice cream, hot girl summer,
Yeah.
It gives her new
Content.
and also like, oh, she's back in the eye, as opposed to Sadie married lady over there with Ben on the Ben on the carpet looking.
Yeah.
And then her saying, we're so happy.
Always so glum. Why so glum, Ben? Always so glum.
Exactly. I don't get that. Yeah.
Like, people would kill to be in your situation.
So this idea of like all press is good press.
I think that if you live in the spotlight and now social media and they want every day to be checked in and everyone's become like Kim Kardashian, a reality figure, I do think it gives a new storyline for her to be out and about. And again, she has options where, let's say, an everyday person, if you're like, oh, I'm with this person, I don't feel a spark anymore, but we have an apartment, we have 2 kids, we have a dog. Right. Where do I begin to uncouple in this situation?
And find someone new, like at the office or at the dog park.
It's sort of daunting to go back into the dating world, but when you're a celebrity, it's like,
and people are throwing themselves at you.
They're throwing themselves at you. I wonder how many of those relationships are actually real relationships, or just relationships of like, oh, this is going to look good on page 6 or
this
whatever.
This will help both of our
friends. Like, I always wonder, how do these like A-listers find each other, and is it real?
I will say, for the young kids, everyone's working from at home. There's no more happy hours. There's no more workplace romances. Also, we're in an era post Me Too, all of these things, which are good things, but you have to be really careful in the office. If we all work together and I said, Alex and Amanda, you both look beautiful today, you can technically go to HR and say, I felt uncomfortable by Adam's.
Yeah.
So, and I just think, I remember back in the day working in an office where I remember numerous people hooked up, and it was like, like it was commonplace. It was nothing strange about that. So it's harder and harder. But for celebrities on sets, through publicists, through parties, through DMs, and I feel those DMs are actually on fire when they're just reaching out to people. I think it's a whole different playbook than just Hinge, Raya, and Bumble.
Exactly. I'm still waiting to get on Raya, by the way. Raya, if you're listening.
I'm
on the Apple wait list. Sponsor us. So
let me just say
hook a girl
Raya,
up.
I don't want to get kicked off, but Raya, I find
Adam's one of my referrals.
like,
I courted him. I'm like, give me your referral.
It's almost where, because in other dating apps, it's in your city, or you pick your city that you're in and you match with people. On Raya, I match with people in Mexico City. Hola, I match with like London and all over the world. It's almost like when you connect, then it's like, hey, I'm going to be in your city. It's not even like, I don't know.
What about like the Tom Hankses of the world?
Yes, and the Rita Wilson. How do
like the ones that really last? And I will say, there don't seem to be as much in the public eye. So does that have something to do with it? This correlation, as we're talking about J-Lo and her, and this constant, need for content and new storylines and spotlights. Maybe if you don't want the spotlight as much, your marriage has a better chance of lasting?
I feel like Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are old school, and Tom Hanks is not your traditional movie star.
Fair.
Right? He is, I feel like he's very accessible. He's a regular average Joe. I'm pretty sure he probably mows his own grass, right?
He would.
So
He totally would.
I think he is connected to his wife, the family, and all of that. And I think he is old school and thinks like, do I want to jeopardize this for anything else? And he really values that. I think other people get caught up in Hollywood and be like,
what's the next shiny thing? It's just so easy. It's like every day you're probably seeing a new somebody in the spotlight.
And very attractive. Like these
the temptation is probably
people.
Very strong, right?
I watch a lot of TV. Did we watch Mad Men?
Mm-hmm.
Alex got into it. I actually never got into it, but
so Alex, I love Don Draper. I love all of them. I watched it so many times. But I remember when Don, I think when he ended up marrying Megan, who was his assistant. And I think the one of the other girls he was dating, the blonde who was like doing the analyzing at the firm, and she was like, wait till she finds out he only likes new things. He likes to cycle. Yeah. He likes the whole like, Now we're in love. Now we're getting married. And then all of a sudden, when that ends, he has to keep repeating that same cycle because that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And that's not a healthy thing to be in a relationship with. But I have a good story. Remember Kelly Ben-Simone, Real Housewives of New York, Ultimate Girls Trip?
Yeah.
I'm in New York City, summer 2023. We have dinner. She tells me she is engaged. We break the news in E! Online. So exciting. A year later, the marriage is about to happen. The wedding is about to happen. Kelly calls off the wedding. He would not sign the prenup.
Oh, get out.
What I love about this is so many people would be like, you have to still get married. I mean, this is so embarrassing. The wedding, all these things. But Kelly is a businesswoman. She has daughters, and she has said he did not want to sign the prenup. I have to protect my daughters and my family. And she was able to walk away. I think so many people would be petrified, would be so embarrassed. You know, to again, remember Sex in the City when Charlotte tells Carrie that her and oh my God, Kyle MacLachlan.
Trey.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Trey.
That he's impotent. They haven't had
sex.
Oh
my God. Yes, the stamps.
And Carrie was, Carrie being her not condescending, but Carrie being sort of a not great friend was like, I'm sure it's nothing. Get down there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Scoot.
Just
and of course, I mean, these are fictional characters. That relationship, it didn't last but I think people usually would cave in and get married instead of walking away. And I mean, I think Kelly is so brave for doing that. As far as the prenup, I don't understand how it got that far where he wasn't signing the prenup. And I also think we're in a different stage now where prenups are commonplace, where back in the day, it was, I don't know, maybe more insulting or more taboo, or not even taboo, but just it didn't happen as much.
Yeah, it meant that you weren't really in love. You were just
you
going
don't really
after
trust
their money.
Me, or you really don't. Exactly. Now it's like, how could you not have a prenup?
How could you not? And especially if you're having two celebrities, let's say, that have wealth of their own, like they have careers and have built up, a life of their own.
They're involved in all these different businesses and they have their own brands, and it's just they have to protect themselves.
I love that for Kelly, because you go, girl. Like, don't let him just take all your money or not actually love you. I'm here for this. You protect those daughters.
But it is unusual for it to get that far, is I think what you're saying. It gets so far where the plans are in place, it's almost the wedding, and then that, someone pulls the plug.
Listen, when I get married, for sure my husband's signing a prenup. I need to protect Ace's collection of bandanas.
Hello?
And my DVD of Sopranos. Okay, so no
Protect
one's going
Ace
to
at all
take
costs.
No one is taking all of my prized possessions over here because I'm a smart person. Okay, so please.
Of Ace's bandanas.
His bandanas. He's a very handsome pup. He's a very handsome pup.
You
have to feature him.
Starbucks, like, what happened to Ace's bandanas? I'm like, we can't talk about it.
We lost them in the divorce.
Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
Well, and you
More
must
puppuccinos, please. You drown our
so we got to cut down the puppuccinos. Ace loves his puppuccinos.
I did a little research to prepare, and there's been some interesting prenups where allegedly Justin Timberlake, Jessica Biel, and remember Justin had an interesting summer. The alleged in the Hamptons, he's on tour. People commenting on his performance. And allegedly, from the New York Daily News reports, Jessica Biel, in that prenup, if he cheats, she gets $500,000. Like, these are just caveats in the prenup. And I love when people are like, celebrities, where do they come up with these prenups and these terms? Remember, these people have teams of agents, managers, lawyers. These people are all about protecting an image. So when it comes to brokering the perfect deal and putting things in, you would say, well, to put in a cheating clause. But for Jessica Biel, if she is then cheated on, it ruins her image potentially, and it hurts her being able bankable films and roles and whatnot. So it makes sense, even though it kind of would tarnish a love story. But
almost more importantly is your
brand,
your employability.
It's the brand.
It's really because it's your person, your own person is connected. with your brand.
And so if you're the manager or the lawyer, you're like, this is also my livelihood that I need to protect.
I'm invested in your relationship because of how it looks and how, what it means for your future contracts.
Your employability. Interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
So you must see a ton of prenups. I mean, I feel like nobody's getting married in Hollywood without one.
100%. I feel like everything is kind of a business deal at this point. I mean, allegedly Beyonce and Jay-Z, she gets $5 million for each child. She has 3 children, so she has $15 million. Not like Sasha Fierce needs this money, but it's just part of that deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so interesting. It reminds me very much too of like the olden days with like the royals,
the
right?
royal family.
If you're marrying, Princess of Monaco and I'm over here in whatever, England, and like now our families are so involved. It really is this whole like team and community, and you're just the head of that all. And so you have to all be protected.
And I wonder how the celebrities deal with it. Like, it's one thing to get divorced, when you're a private person and not everyone's watching your every move. But if every detail is put out on, on socials, that must be really hard.
Yeah.
Like, I get you sign up for a public life, but like, do you really sign up for pictures
really
of your
know
ex
what
with their
that is?
mistress
Yeah.
and their love child and the your divorce papers that are released? Like, that's got to be hard.
Yeah, everyone knows all about your dirty laundry.
All your dirty laundry.
I love that plug. I mean, but I think you know what you sign up for, and it's hard and I'm sure it must be frustrating, but I also get when celebrities are like, I moved to Wyoming, I live on a farm, and I'm like, why would you give all this up? But I think to get back into their peace and to not have to, but I also feel now everything is online, so it's almost, the daily news cycle every day where yes, you may have a bad day or two, but usually it'll be replaced by something else.
Someone else's bad day.
Someone else's bad day. Give it like a few hours or once the story expires, there's going to be a new story.
But ladies, I have a question. What are prenup terms that we would not want or that we would demand?
Great question.
That's a good question.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think the infidelity one is actually something I think that's coming up more common, like more often, not just with the celebs, because it's the kind of a way to sort of protect.
Well, and in Canada, we have a no-fault system. So even if you cheat, it's like, so what?
Doesn't
Who
matter.
cares? Nobody cares about the reason why you're getting a divorce.
Right.
That's just the way our laws are set up. So this would give you something. This would give you some sort of recourse if you're then cheated on to say, great, well, I'm now going to take $5 million.
But the thing that you can't prenup, at least in Canada, is the kids. So the kids are just, they can't be, you can't decide on like who's going to get the kids or whatnot.
Child support.
Any of that.
Unless they're born already.
In the prenup. So that has to be done after. So I don't know what impact that would have on, like the celebrities with their kids. They still have to figure all that stuff out.
Yeah.
They still have to co-parent. They still have to, send child support. I can imagine that is a big number.
Well, Brittany and Kate Fed, they were together 3 years. He only got $1 million settlement, but they had 2 sons, and she gave him $20,000 for child support up until 18. That is done with now.
Right, a month. $20,000 a month.
Also, Kelly Clarkson, Brandon Blackstock, who was on her management team, they were together almost 8 years, and she gives him $45,000 a month for child support for their 2 children.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
That's like someone's entire annual salary.
But also these celebrities, that's what it costs to support their lifestyle.
Yes, exactly.
Like to us, that might sound crazy, but this is what they're spending every month to support their lifestyles. So it's not so far-fetched.
So Adam, you're in the private eye. How do you find dating and relationships and all of that stuff? I mean, as a, celebrity in your own right, are people just coming to you to be adjacent to a celeb? Like, do you feel like sometimes it's ulterior motives when you're
he is so
dating
handsome.
folks? You're so handsome.
He's so handsome. Look at the face.
Handsome.
Look at the punum.
Thank you. I wish, last time I wore this jacket, I interviewed Pedro Pascal, and then when
I
the
love him.
interview ran, everyone was like, he was flirting with you. And I'm like, was he? And I think I'm so not paying attention or whatever. I'm trying to get better in my everyday life. I think I'm almost so in my head, always thinking, or or with Ace and he's or on my phone. I'm just trying to be more present.
Mm.
No, I don't think anyone's trying to get celebrity dirt by being around me. Um, but it's interesting. I try to date people not in entertainment.
Smart.
Yeah.
I want a lawyer. I want a doctor. I really like smart people. So
Yeah.
speak like I always say, I blame my parents. When I was 5, they should be like, go read a book. You're gonna become a doctor. Like don't
Stop watching TV.
shut that TV off. I'm gonna break it. No, this is their fault. So
It's all the
I
parents'
like
fault.
I like smart people. I like people. Not to say people aren't smart in entertainment, but I just don't. I went on a date with someone and they were in the public eye, right?
Okay.
And just at dinner, I was just like, I want no part of this. I want no
Right.
part of any of this. It just was, I think, I always say it's like 2 pigs fighting over a ham sandwich.
Funny.
Mm.
Seems just extra
It's so
mean.
funny. So
You
funny.
imagine waiting
But
to get that good selfie lighting. You'd be there forever. You'd be
Oh
there
my God.
forever.
Yeah.
So true.
And maybe that's the reason why a lot of the celeb relationships, like it's just too many cooks in the kitchen. It's just like, do
I
they
was gonna
ever
say,
talk about anything else?
Well, and
or-
I wonder too if you
Like,
have, again, Hollywood attracts a certain personality, right? They want to be in the spotlight. They want the attention. Now you have 2 people in one relationship fighting for the spotlight. I imagine that kind of throws a wrench in things.
Let's see. Let's go back to Brad Pitt. First of all, Brad Pitt is 60 and he looks phenomenal. Whatever he's doing.
Yeah. Brad, if you're listening, phenomenal.
Also, like, how old do we feel when Brad Pitt is 60?
It's crazy. And that is the face of 60. How that looks now.
Shit, that's a lot
Yeah,
of pressure.
that's a lot of pressure for 60-year-old men.
60 is the new 40.
Sure.
Remember, Brad was with Jennifer Aniston first.
Sure.
Oh, yes.
How could we forget?
Love Jen.
And he met Angelina on Mr. and Mrs. Smith in 2005, and then he went with Angelina. In 2020, I was at the SAG Awards backstage for the Hollywood Reporter, and Jen won for the morning show. He won for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and they had that big moment where they reunited backstage, and we all thought they were getting back together. I remember just standing there like this, but I think in that dynamic, Jennifer Aniston was more chill and laid back and less of I'm a leading lady, I'm a star, where Angelina Jolie has that very classic star. And you noticed once they got married, it only lasted 2 years of Brad and Angelina. That dynamic did not work. Jen and Brad in the public eye, both of them, I think their dynamic worked better. Same with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. She was more motherly, and Ben needed. Ben is now sober, and I think Ben has his own issues or demons that I think Jennifer Garner was more equipped to deal with. Whereas Jennifer Lopez is a star, she is selling out stadiums. Well, sometimes selling out before that canceled tour.
She has sold out stadiums in the past.
So I think in that dynamic, that's not going to work because in any relationship, you need emotional flexibility. You need a give and take. And if it's like, no, in Hollywood, it's like who's first in the call sheet. If you both want to be first,
it's not going to work. Before we let you go, is there any last stories or anecdotes or tidbits that our listeners should know about dating and marriage and divorce in Hollywood?
It's hard. I think sometimes when you're working at an outlet, you want to be in the celebrities' good graces. But then when you have to report on the divorce, the fallout, like, it's like a friendship. It's like, and so yes and no, because then also it just can take over. And it's like every day, what's the update? What's the update? What's the update? And it's just sort of like...
leave them alone.
So are you afraid to are you ever afraid to say something negative, let's say, about a celebrity? Because then you might be interviewing them the next week for their role, but you've said something negative about them or something that's happened in their life that maybe they didn't want out there, but it is. Like, how do you balance that?
Listen, sometimes not everyone's going to love you, but also sometimes you have to ask a question. It's how you ask that question and what you're going to ask. But I think if something's out there, you have to, and they can say, I don't want to talk about that
Right.
or that,
Yeah.
but you have to be able to, and I have to be okay with being like, oh, this person is going to be mad at me today. Because believe me, people have been mad at me. And it's like, and you don't never want to feel a powerful person doesn't like you, but it happens.
It happens.
Oh, this has been so fun.
So fun.
You know, we always try and bring a little levity to divorce because obviously it's such a difficult conversation, a difficult subject for sure. But, you know, and I don't love to like air out all the dirty laundry of the celebrities, but again, like they chose this life.
It's out there,
and it is interesting. Like they're such a fascinating species, almost somebody that wants all that attention. And then
somebody that has all that attention
and has it and then has to go through, you know, quote unquote, real life experiences with everybody watching. That can't be easy.
And that's why
I will say this. I will say, if you ask many celebrities if you can do it all over again, would you? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say some would say no, because a fairy tale can turn into a tragedy.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've seen that with many people where it's just, you know, all your dreams can come true, or you can be a success professionally, but a failure in love. And it's just, you know, it can be hard to reconcile. So I think, you know, everyone always thinks, oh my God, that lifestyle, how can you? But believe me, I've been around some of the most wealthiest, successful people and thought to myself, oh, I didn't feel as I thought they'd be happier. I thought they'd be more content. I thought they're just like me, searching for that dopamine hit on their phone. I'm like, this is interesting. So it's helped me have better satisfaction and gratitude for all my bad and situationships.
Yeah.
Well, makes us all feel better.
No, I like that. That's a really nice way of looking at it.
Does.
We're all just people at the end of the day, just trying to get through life.
And being a celebrity doesn't make you happier or having all those things.
It's a good reminder. It
is a good reminder. This episode was written and created by Alex Howard and Amanda Silver. Produced, edited, and engineered by RTF Productions. Make sure to rate and review our show if you loved it, and give us a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcast to stay up to date on all upcoming episodes. Thanks for listening, and go easy on us. We're not your ex.